All right, so cultural policy officer.
You're either thinking, that sounds important, but kind of vague. Or I'm passionate about culture, but is this like a real job?
And trust me,
I get it.
which is exactly why we are cracking open these RoleCatcher insights.
Because they've got some seriously eye-opening stuff here.
Yeah, what's so fascinating about this role is that it's so much more than meets the eye. We often think about cultural impact as this big, almost abstract concept, but a cultural policy officer is right there on the ground, making it happen day in and day out.
Okay, so paint a picture for us. What does that actually look like? Because it's not just about, you know, organizing gallery openings, right?
Not at all. Think about like a city trying to revitalize its downtown area. A cultural policy officer might be the one who says, hey, let's convert these old warehouses into artist studios and performance spaces. They're looking at zoning laws, building codes, funding opportunities, connecting the dots to make this vision a reality.
So they're like cultural entrepreneurs in a way. They see potential where others might just see empty buildings.
Yeah.
Or a struggling art scene.
Exactly. And here's where it gets really interesting. RoleCatcher highlights this fascinating paradox. You've got this field that's all about creativity, about pushing boundaries, about bringing art to life. But then you've also got the reality of budget constraints, bureaucratic hurdles, and sometimes even pushback from the community.
Yeah, that's the part that gets glossed over in those dream job descriptions.
That's
So you need to be a bit of an oxymoron yourself, right?
Yeah.
A creative pragmatist. A
Okay.
diplomat who's not afraid to fight for what they believe in. I mean, talk about a balancing act. But RoleCatcher dives into this too, right? Like, what are the personality traits that help someone actually thrive in this environment?
They do. And one of the things they emphasize is resilience. You're going to face setbacks. You're going to have to navigate complex political landscapes.
Sure.
And you might even have to deal with people who just don't get the value of what you're trying to achieve.
Ugh, I can already feel the tension headaches coming on.
Yeah.
But I guess that's also what makes it so rewarding, right? Like when you DO manage to secure that grant, or when you see a community really embrace a new cultural initiative, it's got to feel incredible.
Absolutely. And that sense of accomplishment, that feeling of making a tangible difference in the world, that's a huge motivator for a lot of cultural policy officers. And, RoleCatcher actually quantifies this in a way. They have data that shows cultural policy officers report significantly higher job satisfaction rates compared to other professions with similar salary ranges.
Okay, see, now that's the kind of insider information I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That's not something you just stumble upon on your own. So we've established this isn't your average 9 to 5. You need passion, a thick skin,
Mm.
and a knack for navigating bureaucracy.
Yeah.
But what about the actual skills and qualifications?
Mm.
Because I'm guessing a love for the arts isn't going to cut it on a resume.
You're absolutely right. Passion is essential, but it's the foundation, not the whole building. RoleCatcher really dives deep into the specifics here, and I have to say, some of their insights were pretty surprising even for me.
Ooh, I love when that happens. All right, hit us with it. What does RoleCatcher say makes a cultural policy officer stand out from the crowd?
Well, you might assume, like, a degree in arts administration is the gold standard. And while it's certainly relevant, RoleCatcher's data reveals a more nuanced picture.
Here we go. I love nuances. Spill the tea.
It turns out degrees in public policy, law, even economics, are becoming increasingly common among successful cultural policy officers.
Wait, really? So it's less about knowing the brushstrokes of a Monet and more about understanding the mechanics of,
Yeah.
like funding allocations and legal frameworks.
Precisely. Think of it this way. You're essentially advocating for a sector, for cultural initiatives, within a larger ecosystem of policies and regulations. So understanding how those systems work, how to navigate them effectively becomes absolutely critical. And that's where those seemingly unrelated degrees come in handy.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. But I bet practical experience still holds a lot of weight in this field.
Yeah.
Showing you've been in the trenches, not just reading about it in textbook.
Absolutely. And RoleCatcher actually breaks down the types of experience that employers really value. Internships at arts organizations are a given, but they also highlight the importance of volunteer work, especially in leadership roles. Think organizing a fundraising gala for a local theater group, or managing social media for a community art festival.
So it's about demonstrating initiative, right?
Oh, yeah.
Showing you can take an idea and run with it, even on a small scale. I like that. It's not just about ticking boxes on a resume. It's about showcasing your passion and your ability to make things happen.
Exactly. And speaking of showcasing your passion, this is where I think RoleCatcher's platform really shines. Their AI-powered resume builder doesn't just organize your experience. It helps you frame it in a way that resonates with the specific values and priorities of the cultural policy field.
Okay, now that's cool. So it's like having a secret weapon for translating your skills and experience into a language that hiring managers in this niche will actually understand and appreciate.
Exactly. And it's not just about the resume. Remember those tricky interview questions we talked about?
Yeah.
Tell me about a time you dealt with a difficult stakeholder scenario.
Yeah, those can be brutal.
Well, RoleCatcher has a whole section dedicated to interview prep, including a massive database of potential questions specific to the cultural policy officer role. They even use AI to analyze your practice responses and offer personalized feedback. It's like having a personal interview coach in your pocket.
Okay, now that's impressive. It sounds like they've really thought of everything to give you an edge in what we've established is a very competitive field.
Yeah.
But let's say you land the job. You're officially a cultural policy officer. What does that career trajectory look like?
That's where RoleCatcher's insights into various career stages become super valuable. You're not just stuck in one lane. There are opportunities for growth and specialization within the field.
So it's not like climbing a ladder, but more like exploring different paths within a forest. You can go from entry level to, say, specializing in public art installations or even historic preservation.
Exactly. RoleCatcher provides these really cool case studies of individuals who started in general cultural policy officer roles and then branched out into fascinating niches. For example, one profiled individual, after several years in municipal arts funding, leveraged their expertise to become a consultant for private foundations, guiding their philanthropic investments in the arts.
Wow, so you could end up shaping cultural policy on an even larger scale. That's pretty amazing. But what about those transferable skills we touched on earlier? RoleCatcher mentioned this could be a stepping stone to other fields altogether.
Absolutely, and this is where things get really interesting. For those who might be exploring a career change or want to keep their options open, the skills you hone as a cultural policy officer, policy analysis, stakeholder engagement, budget management, these are sought after assets in fields like public administration, nonprofit management, even corporate social responsibility.
Wait, really, give me an example. How does a cultural policy officer's skill set translate to, say, corporate social responsibility?
Imagine a company wants to launch a community engagement program focused on promoting local artists or supporting arts education. Who better to lead that initiative than someone with experience in developing cultural programs, securing funding, and navigating the complexities of community partnerships?
Okay, that's actually brilliant. It's like this hidden superpower you didn't even realize you were developing. It's not just about the arts. It's about having your finger on the pulse of what makes a community tick, what brings people together, what makes a place vibrant and engaging.
Precisely. You develop a keen understanding of the social and economic impact of cultural initiatives, which is incredibly valuable across a variety of sectors.
This has been such an eye-opening deep dive. We've gone from wondering if this is even a real job to uncovering all these unexpected pathways and hidden superpowers. So to wrap things up, I want to leave you with this. Think about your own community. What aspects of your local culture resonate with you? What needs a champion? Because maybe, just maybe, this deep dive has revealed a path to not only a fulfilling career, but also a chance to make a real difference in the world around you.